We're still talking. Welcome back to the Rob and the Regulator Show on Fifth Wrist Radio. We've got this. I'm Rob. We've got Alex, my best friend and co-host here, and also a very special guest, Michael from Woods Watchmaking. Michael Woods, how are you guys?
Good,
excellent,
good.
Very excited.
Good. We've also got some random Swiss dude here who's he's a cheesemaker, and he also has a bit to do with watches. We've got Jean-Claude Biver. Mr. Biver, how are you?
Yes, hi, hello, I'm fine. Excellent. How are you?
Good. You're looking well.
Where are you now?
We're all over the place.
Are you?
Sorry?
So, I'm in Melbourne.
Which city are you? In Melbourne?
Yeah. We've got Alex in Melbourne, and Michael's in a little town a little bit outside of Melbourne.
Okay.
I'm in Perth,
in
Western Australia.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
And you?
I'm in Zurich.
Zurich. Okay. Beautiful. So we'll get straight into it because we don't want to take up too much of your time. You're a busy man. I know these guys have plenty of questions for you. So I'll hand over to Alex. Alex is kind of the one that launched this whole thing. And we've had some cool guests on, but now we've got you on, so we can stop now. But Alex, that's it. Mr. Biver with some questions. What do you got? What do you want to know?
If we're going to get right into it, we might as well get right into it.
Yeah, get
what are the chances of you starting up your own brand, and what's holding you back from starting up your own brand?
What's holding me back is several things. Number one, I'm in my 72nd year, which means in 8 years I will be 80. And to start a new business when you have 8 years to go to become 80 is quite risky. Number two, I have already achieved more than I ever thought and more than I ever have dreamt of. And I have more or less restructured 5 brands. What do I want more? Number three, there is always a risk that you do. The last show is the one that you shouldn't have done. Mm-hmm. And people always will remember the last show, not the beginning. Having succeeded 5 times, it's quite risky. And what will it bring me to succeed a 6th time? So these 3 major questions are crucial. And the last one, which is less crucial, but still, I have enjoyed life without working too much in the last 3-4 months. And I suddenly understood that having some good time, going to the beach, having lunch with friends is not such a bad and terrible thing. It can be very nice. It can be very... So all this tells me, come on, be a little bit, be careful. You got a lot, say thank you, and spend your last 8 or 10 or 20 years by trying to give back. By trying to give back, at least, then your life makes a lot of sense. And stop doing for you. You did it already. You did it 5 times. What do you want more? Now give it to other people. Give a chance to others. Help people. Advise people. Assist people. Motivate people. And give back. There is time for everything. And you did it first. Now time has come for you to give back. So all this, all in one, gives me some doubts to start something again. And it has now been a few months that I haven't done it. And I say to myself, that's also a sign. If there should have been a future for my brand, it would have been already doing. I would have already been working on it, because I'm not the type of guy who waits months and months before making decision. But voila, so I don't think my future will be by doing something for me. My future might be by doing something for other people, helping, assisting, giving back, sharing my experience, sharing my relationship, sharing my knowledge. That makes a lot of sense. And finally, it excites me even more than to do my own brand.
Okay, I can't argue with that. All those points were, yeah, they were good points, especially when you're talking about the last thing, the last one that you probably shouldn't do, and it's maybe it would be like the boxer coming back to defend his title that one last time, and everyone's people want them to come back, but at the same time, people are saying, "No, why is he coming back? Just retire, take it easy." So I can appreciate that.
You have mentioned before about giving back in your later years, and I suppose that's something where you would potentially support Pierre if he decided to go that route. Is that right?
Absolutely right.
Yeah.
Pierre or other of my kids.
Yeah.
That would be, of course, a big privilege if I could assist them, if I could help them, if I could advise them. That would be wonderful.
Yeah.
Now, Pierre is Pierre, and he, for the moment, he's studying, and we'll see when he finishes the university in 2 years. We'll see. But clearly, if one of my kids wants to enter this business, he can count on my 100% of support.
Yeah. A lot can happen in 2 years too. So things
a
might
lot
change.
of things can happen in 2 years. And you know, that maybe there's a fifth reason why I wouldn't do something now. I would not know what to do. The watch business, I mean, the watch industry or the watchmaking art, let's call it like that. The watchmaking art means the mechanical watches with the complications. Nearly everything has been done. You know, there is not much new. And if I have to start by repeating what others are doing or what others have already done, that's not really what you like to do. After 50 years of experience, you are not ready to repeat. You want to innovate. You want to go to the future, not to the past. But I cannot see at the moment any technical innovation in the art of making watches that would be interesting. Maybe there aren't for the moment. There is, I think we have done everything. From Richard Mille to the simple ultra slim, everything has been done. And all the colors and all the materials by Hublot. There is so much has moved in the last 10 years, 20 years, that I see nothing special to redevelop. I see no special innovation, but it might come. I know it will come. But for the moment, there is a lack of innovation and creativity, essential innovation and essential creativity. So if I find a watchmaker who comes to me with an extraordinary innovation, maybe it will change my mind.
I guess you've talked a bit before about, and yeah, when you're talking about innovation, I guess there's more than one way to innovate, though. It doesn't have to be just about the kind of mechanical aspects of the watch or even the watch itself. And you've talked about before Swatch Group or Swatch watches and how they got people into watches. They got an entire generation into watches. And you've also voiced concern about there's a lack of that now, or there's a missing step. And you talked about Apple doing that, and they get watches on people's wrists, a certain generation. But could there not be a way to innovate? And I think there has to be a way to innovate to get young people into mechanical watches. Because again, when you've talked before about eternal products and eternal love and art and stuff like that, that's great to sell that to people. But if you're talking about the eternal art of watchmaking, that only comes in at a certain price barrier, certain price bracket. So how do we get people into mechanical watches at a lower price bracket where the eternal watchmaking part of it doesn't come in, where you have movement exchanges and things rather than actual old-fashioned watchmaking?
That's a brilliant question. And there was a brilliant answer to that question. And the answer came from Mr. Hayek. It was Swatch. Swatch had a mechanical self-winding watch that you could buy for 90 or 100 Swiss francs in those days. First, they came with a quartz watch at 50 Swiss francs, and then they made also an automatic, a self-winding one. And Swatch made people, under brackets, watch conscious. It made a new generation of people watch conscious. People realized they could wear a watch with colors, They could wear 2 watches or 3 watches. They could wear watches on both wrists. They could change watches depending on the shirt. I mean, it was a joy of life. It was fashion. It was high quality. And that made people conscious. And it was the step into the watchmaking art. Now, Swatch doesn't talk anymore to the millennium. I mean, I don't know. I'm not at Swatch, but it seems that they talk less to the millenniums today as they did in the 80s. And so there's a missing. We miss Swatch somehow. We miss the magic that Swatch was. And you can see the interest of the young people, I mean, has a little bit shifted now. And it's maybe more on Apple. I don't know. I'm not a specialist of this low-end market. But clearly, your question makes a lot of sense, and we would need an entry price in order to make people more sensitive. Now, on the other hand, I'm amazed that the young generation are buying sneakers for $300 or $500. They are buying, or they were buying Supreme T-shirts for $200. So they have another price sensitivity. And we, in our past, we thought $1,000 watch is an expensive watch. Today, it can happen that young people or young students are buying $1,000 or $2,000 watch. So the entry price is now is higher, and there is an interesting market, which is the secondary market. On the secondary market, you have some extraordinary good deals, and prices are affordable. And then you have the collector market with the vintage, and also in the vintage, you have sometimes very good opportunities. So all in one, maybe vintage and the secondary market will play a role to make it possible for younger people to enter our market.
I guess with micro brands as well coming in more, and them offering that kind of personalized service at a lower cost for younger people, and I can see lots more younger people getting into micro brands. It gives them that connection. How can big brands compete with that personalized service on a small scale that the micro brands can provide? And could it potentially be a kind of death by 1,000 cuts for the brands as these kind of multitude of micro brands come out and absorb some of that customer base?
You know, the micro brands are making a living because of what the big brands don't want to do or cannot do. And this is the typical niche market. The niche market, it means that's what big brands are not interested in, the leftovers. And now as the market is quite big, the leftovers are also quite big. I mean, there are a lot of opportunities. And to have this personalized service, that's not the message, the basic message of big brands. You know, the message of a Ferrari car, where you can go in the factory and see how the progress of your engine is made, and you go 2 or 3 times to visit the factory, and you can talk with the guy who makes the engine. A big brand that is building 1 million car just cannot. It's not that they don't want it; they cannot. It's not in their philosophy, and so. The small and the micro brands have today more opportunities than ever, because as the market has grown up, as the big brands has become bigger, they have left now bigger spaces that are not exploited. And these micro brands can now go all in these niches, in these small, and they can make a good living. That's why I said a few days ago to a Swiss press people, that for micro brands, I see a huge future. And the more there is concentration, the bigger the big brands become, the more we have opportunities for the micro brands. And it's a good example, what you said, to deliver the watch yourself, to take a, I remember with Blancpain in 1983, there was a customer in Newport Beach who had a minute repeater, and apparently it was not working. I took a plane the other day, and I went to Newport Beach to see the guy and to take the watch and back to Switzerland. He was so astonished. He was so impressed. He stopped to complain, number one. And number two, he became one of my best customers and said, such a service I've never seen. So there are opportunities now that are bigger than ever.
So do you agree that there has to be a reframing of the luxury experience then for the big brands as the boutiques will potentially die away? Like what is the future in your eyes of a luxury experience? We discussed it and said luxury is time for us, or certainly Michael and I agreed that. Yeah. But what's your view on luxury for the future and how that's going to change over the years?
You know, first of all, for luxury or not luxury, when you spend money for anything, you are expecting to get something more than just a product. I was in a store yesterday who sells bikes. And this guy who is selling bikes, you know, just bikes, he had in the shop, in the bike shop, there were, I don't remember, 100 bikes. He had a small corner, and in this corner he had a kind of a restaurant with one big wooden table with extraordinary wines from Italy and with great salami. I said, he said, yeah, that's for my customers. It gives them an experience because it gives them more than just to come and buy a bike. And the experience is what people are looking for, not just a product. Because if you want just a product, buy it online. Then you get just the product. But if you go to a store and you get no experience, then it's stupid to go to a store. Then buy it on internet. So the experience is something extremely important, and people will want an experience. And when you get an experience, then the price is suddenly different, because you have on one hand you get the product plus the experience. So you have an added value. And then the last thing you get is emotion. And emotion is not easy to get. Very, very often when you buy, there's a lack of emotion. Here you get an emotion. And then you get a relation with the guy in the bike shop. So I think the future in luxury is to create emotions, is to create experience, is to become richer once you have bought, not richer with your money, but richer with the experiences, with the mentality, with what you have learned. And that's important. And we see it also now with customers when they come. Last year, Hublot had 5,500 visits of the factory. That's a lot. I mean, that's nearly 500 per month. People coming to visit. And they come to visit because they want an experience. They want to see how it is made. So that is a base that we need for all the products, not just for luxury. And in luxury, we will need, what else? We will need that luxury there must be a relation with the quality. Luxury cannot only be marketing and advertisement and influencers and social media. At the end, there must be a credibility. There must be something solid. That's the quality. The quality, including the service. And there must be somehow a kind of authenticity. It must be real. It must be true. And last but not least, there must be a certain tradition. There must be a certain tradition. And that's, for me, all this together makes, for me, the luxury world.
Okay, I'm going to ask one last question, and you guys can have the rest of Mr. Biver's time, I promise. Just when you're talking about the experience and that part of things, I guess there's a big disconnect for me as someone who works in the industry. I feel like there is a lack of passion there from a lot of people in the industry. I mean, myself and probably a few people in in my work, I would classify as being actually super passionate about watches. How do we get more passionate people into the industry? Because I think you can't sell a passionate product without passionate people. And I believe horology and watches are it's a passionate decision. It's a decision of passion to buy a watch. It's something you want, it's something you desire. So how can we get the message across to people from people who aren't passionate about it? How can we pass on that passion without the people who are writing the message being passionate? And how can we get more passionate people into the industry? Because I think that's the thing that's going to give the industry the longevity into the future and give it the stability that we need.
The leaders of the company, they must transmit passion through their attitude. They must share their passion. They must forgive somehow the mistakes you do. They must respect you. And that is a global attitude of the company, which comes from the top. If the top guy is a finance guy and he just runs it financially, the business, it will be difficult to get passion into the people. But if he runs it with a certain respect, with a passion and a respect for the history of the art, because we are talking watchmaking art, which means there is a history. There are 300-400 years of art. All this gives certain vibrations that must be transmitted by the leaders of the brand. And these leaders, the more, it's like the money comes from the top to the bottom. It's like the rain comes from the top to the bottom. And the same way, passion comes from the top and goes down to everybody, till to the receptionist. And then you have succeeded. When the receptionist is already also passionate, like the big boss, then you got it. But that's the responsibility of nobody else than the big boss. The big boss must be capable to do that. And then, and he starts to do it, and then around him, the first level of executives are passionate, and the second level, and it goes down. So it's a clearly responsibility of the leader of the company.
If everyone had an opportunity like you did to begin their career with the first 12 months of just learning the watchmaking art, that would be a very different watchmaking experience, I think, for everyone, I suppose. But
yes,
that costs a lot of time and money. So how do you incorporate that into companies that for even watchmakers or sales staff?
When I was at Omega, we incorporated that by having a special product development organization that had only one mission, was to take students that were finished with their master, to recruit them and to have them 1 year in the product development, where they were learning to make how a product is made, and they were also helping and assisting. And we were taking 3 or 5 of these students every year and teaching them 1 year product. Although they had they had no idea when they joined us that they would be 1 year sitting in the product development department. But by going into the product department, they were capable of learning the history, learning who are the suppliers, why do we have a crown, what is the use, how long should a second hand be, if the dial is 30 millimeter, how long will be the second hand, etc. By learning all these details, they slowly got passionate about it, because it's easier to get passionate about the product that you touch, that you see, where you have a teacher telling you, than through books. And so after 1 year, not only these people were passionate, but in addition, they knew the product, They were very good in smelling, in seeing the proportions, and in judging the product will be successful. It will speak more to Latinos than to Northern people. And so after 1 year, when they had all this, then we were dispatching them in the different subsidiaries.
Right.
That was a way to build up people for our business.
Yeah.
They came from schools where they were built up for business in general, and then they were specialized, going 1 year in the product development department. Then they became specialized on our product, and of course, slowly, passion went into their heart and into their blood.
So they were immersed. They were immersed for the first so many
Yes.
months and years, I suppose.
Yes.
In the product
Yes.
before they even started. Yeah.
Yes.
Do you know
And
if
that I
takes
would
place
repeat.
with
If I would
other
be at the
companies?
head of a big company, that's what I would do.
Yeah.
In watches,
that's-
at least.
That's a good question, Rob. Yeah.
I wonder if other companies do that. I don't know.
Yeah.
If other companies.
I hope so. But if in the watch business, I didn't hear about other companies, but probably in other businesses, it might be they should do it.
Yeah. I mean, you look at the result and the way you came out from the first 12 months at AP, and your passion
Yeah.
for watches will be forever.
Forever.
Because of that.
Exactly.
Yeah. And
In
I mean,
1 year, I got a passion for 50 years. That's
If
not
every-
bad. It's a good
yeah.
ratio.
if every company invested that in people, they could have passionate employees for forever,
Yes.
for their entire
Forever.
careers. Committed.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
Yes,
kind
and
of
that's
why I
what.
wanted to talk to you.
And your word is right. It was. That's an investment.
Yeah.
It's not an expenditure. It's not a cost.
No.
It's an investment
Yeah. Exactly. You
because you get
can't-
it back.
Yeah.
You know, an expenditure you don't get back.
No.
Investment, the money comes back and flows back more than what you have put in.
Yeah.
And the cost of 1 year of such a student is nothing because we were not paying them $10,000
Yeah.
per month. You know,
It's so small.
a small money, and they were even helping
Yeah.
because they were working. By the way,
Yeah.
little jobs, you know, and then at the end they were doing even big jobs.
Yeah.
And then we were sending them to exhibition, to this, to help our decorator to put the watches in the right way in the showcase. At the end, they were also bringing money, and it's so easy to do that.
Because young
And
people.
I tell you,
Yeah.
we did it for many years when I was at Omega.
Yeah, because young people are so enthusiastic to work and
Yes.
just to make a difference at the start. People are willing to clean floors just to get into
Yes.
a company. So it's
Yes,
it's
yes.
a perfect opportunity.
Yes,
Yeah.
you see, so it's possible.
Yeah. Yep.
You're the proof of that, really. I
Mm.
mean, this is why we want to talk to you, because you speak to a lot of CEOs and they're quite wooden. It's kind of hard to deal with them. I mean, well, because they don't have this, or they maybe have the passion, but it's kind of hidden, or it's suppressed because of they're limited by shareholders and the structure and everything
Yeah.
else. But to get someone who shows real emotion, that's what people are interested in. That's why people like hearing. That's why everyone's calling you every second day for a podcast, probably. But that's why it's good to get that emotion. What are you wearing today? Are you still wearing that Big Bang?
Yes, I wear the all black Big Bang
Yeah.
tourbillon chronograph. It was
Perfect.
called Bigger Bang.
Yeah.
Big Bang.
That's
Yeah, yeah.
never
I have
that's
the
never
Bigger
coming
Bang all
off.
black.
Never coming off.
Never coming off. Yeah.
No.
What are you
How's the
wearing, Rob?
cows? Yeah, how's the cows? Is the Des Alpes been already? That's about now, right?
Yes,
In
it's
September.
finished. Yes.
Finished.
Tomorrow there will be snow at 2,000 meters.
Oh wow. Yeah.
They
Okay.
announced snow for tomorrow and Friday at 2,000 meters. And the cows, they came back last weekend.
Last week. And
Just
where were
in
you?
time.
Which pâturage? Where are they? Where were they?
My cows are close to Gstaad.
Okay. Nice. Brilliant.
Very close. I mean, from the top of our mountain where we have the chalet, we can see the Gstaad, the village, and the Gstaad Palace.
Yeah.
So we are just above Gstaad.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah, beautiful.
Makes me
Beautiful.
homesick.
Couldn't be better. Beautiful.
I remember we first met in 2009 when you came
Yeah.
to Melbourne for a Hublot event.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and
I remember.
you brought your cheese, and it was magnificent. It was magnificent. I
I
was
smuggled the cheese
yes.
because it's forbidden to bring it.
That's right. It was like display material. I still remember that.
Like,
I still remember that display material, and you still do that?
yes.
Yeah.
I still smuggle it in China also because I cannot import it.
How do you do this still after like over a decade?
You're smuggling it in still. You're a professional smuggler.
Yeah.
Well, Alex,
It was amazing. I ate half the table.
I love Gruyere. When I lived in Switzerland for 20 years, as you know, almost. I'm a friend of Andrew Luff. You know Andrew Luff and these guys at Basel. I was there. I talked to you last time a couple of years ago, but I had that cheese a few times as well, and it just makes me homesick just thinking about it. Basically, unbelievable. You're still doing,
but it's a very innocent smuggling. To smuggle some cheese is not. It's not a big deal. Huh?
Yeah. If they caught you, they'd be like,
you give them half. If they call you, caught you, you say, okay, I give you half.
Yeah.
I cut it in two. That's for you.
So how has this year been? How's this year been? A bit. Obviously, it's been pretty tough, right? This year, and for the group.
Yes, it has been very, very tough. I think the industry looks like minus 27 end of August.
Yeah, right.
Compared to last year.
Right.
Yep.
Which is still not so bad, because we had 2 months that were minus 83.
Yes.
March and April. So now, to date, to be less than minus 30 is good. And if September, October, November, December are okay, we might be very close to last year.
Yeah.
So it's not only depressive. There is some hope.
Mm. Brilliant.
By the way, happy birthday for Sunday.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I had the idea of coming on here and wishing you happy birthday and then singing happy birthday, but the other guys didn't like that. They didn't like that idea. So.
We didn't want to put him on the spot. Didn't want to embarrass you, Jean-Claude.
He's 71, is it?
71 finished.
71.
Yes,
yeah.
I entered the 72nd year. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah. It's fantastic to hear, and I hope your health is doing well.
Yeah, my health is doing well. I cycled this morning 2 hours, 30 minutes. So I cycle 5 times a week, maybe 150 kilometers per week. No, a little bit more, 200 kilometers per week.
Good.
It keeps me fit.
Yeah, that's good. That's very good.
and it compensates the food and the wine.
Yeah, we should do more of that as well. Yeah,
I've got a little wine here. I'm drinking we got to have a drink. We have drinks every podcast. And I've got to give us Hamina. It's not. I know it's not from Luxembourg. It's Alsace. Not far away from
Alsace. Yeah, not far away.
It's been a while since I've had a Gewürz, and it's going down so well in my little tiny Swiss wine glass, which I laugh at over here.
From the Canton de Vaud. That's
exactement le petit verre de vin Bordeaux. I'm really enjoying it. I'm feeling like I'm at home.
Excellent.
See, I was looking for Luxembourgish alcohol today to drink, and I couldn't find anything. And eventually, I was speaking to Michael on the phone today while I was in the bottle shop, and eventually I found a vodka made from milk, because I was trying to keep a dairy. I thought I'll try and keep it dairy. Have you ever heard of this, Jean-Claude?
No, never.
Black cow vodka, and it's honestly it's made from milk. They turn it into beer, and then they eventually take all the alcohol out of the beer and then turn it into vodka.
Extraordinary. Yeah, there's a new business to be made.
Yeah, see, there's things if people can make changes and make vodka out of milk, then surely it's not. There must be more innovation left in old mechanical wristwatch.
Yeah, then you do a vegan vodka. That's perfect.
Yeah,
and if you were to make a whiskey, I think you would design the bottle like this.
Well,
that's Bruichladdich.
Okay.
Yeah, because
that's good.
This bottle is unlike any other whiskey bottle. It stands out.
Absolutely.
This is
you would never think there's whiskey in it.
No, this is you. Exactly.
You can tell these guys are so into their watches. I just want to talk about drinks. No, about watches.
I'm going to ask, since you guys are just blabbering on about cows and stuff like that, I'll ask one last question. And it's actually a question from one of the other watchmakers that I work with, another Alex. And he asked me, he's one of the other very passionate people in my workshop. and he asked me to ask you, do you think things would have been different for you if, instead of getting into the sales side of things, if those times where you spent the year with the watchmakers playing soccer, all that kind of stuff, if you diverted into watchmaking, would you have still been able to make the same impact in the industry? Was that ever a consideration for you, that you thought about getting into the actual watchmaking side of things? Because obviously that's something that we are all part of, and we're connected to that. Or were you only ever purely interested in the actual kind of sales and marketing side of things?
I was interested in the history of watchmaking. I was interested in the mentality of the watchmakers. I was interested in the passions of the watchmakers. I was interested in the valley where they live. I was interested to share time with the watchmakers, going to find mushrooms or going to the mill, to the cows. But I knew that I would never be a watchmaker, because I can even not nail a tableau, a picture,
a picture frame
on my. I start, and then the thing is like that, and then I start again. So I'm totally. You cannot ask me to do anything with my hands.
That's a good answer. That's a great answer.
I never had the smallest illusion about this.
But you obviously have a massive respect for the watchmakers. And speaking of that, I mean, we've touched on the micro brands. What about the independents, big independents, or high-end independents? What's your favorite? Which ones do you like?
I think I like Philippe Dufour.
Obviously, you have some of those, you like him, but apart.
And I have a watch from him, and I worked with him at AP, so I have been knowing him since 1974. So he's a very old friend. Yeah, I worked with him at AP in 74.
I never knew that connection. That connection. Yeah.
And so I have a lot of respect for him, and that's one. I like Recep.
Yep.
Yes.
Recep is for me a type of future of Dufour.
Mm-hmm.
He has a lot of skills. He respects a lot the finishing. He could be in line with Dufour in future. Now, not now, but in future. I like very much François-Paul Journe.
Mm-hmm.
I also collect François-Paul Journe watches. I collect Recipe, I collect Philippe Dufour, and I collect Journe. And I like Journe. I think he's a character, but he brought a lot of things, and he has his watches. You can recognize them, and that's an important element. When you wear Journe, people notice it because he has been able to give an identity to the product. Those are more or less the three people that I collect, the three micro brands or independent brands, call them like that I collect.
Journe is an interesting one because it's like it's beyond independent. He's developed boutiques and he's taken it to another level. So he's definitely one I've considered buying at some stage. But I visited Recep last year, and very, very nice young talent. He's a good manager too. I can see he's a good manager, so I can see him becoming like Journe. In fact, the day I was there, he was just finalising the office for Hagman, Mr. Hagman.
Yeah, of course.
He was finalising that with the bank, and he was busy, but he gave me his time, and I was so appreciative of that. What do you see with the Hagman cases? What is the difference with the Hagman cases compared to other cases?
No, the difference is the quality. Jean-Pierre Hagman, who made all the Hublot, the Blancpain minute repeater cases.
And Patrick.
I have known him in 84, 85.
Yep.
And he was in charge of the Blancpain minute repeater cases. And he was specialized in minute repeaters, by the way.
Right.
The quality of Jean-Pierre Hagman is just perfection.
Really?
It's the Philippe Dufour of cases,
Right.
So that's the difference.
Yep.
Of course, 90% of the people won't see the difference.
Yeah.
Because the difference is in every detail. This is what I call the invisible visibility.
Yep.
It's 90% of the people would not see it with their eyes, but the specialist will immediately recognize the way the lugs are made, the polishing. That's Jean-Pierre. So he is the best case maker that we have today in Switzerland.
And you also hear it with the repeating watches too. Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. So you see, Recep was very clever to recruit him.
Yep.
It shows you that Recep is a clever young man.
Yeah, very. I think that combination of Recep and Hagman in the future is going to be big.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. I agree.
Yep.
So that's
Okay, gentlemen.
You got to get going.
I think.
Yep.
I will have to move. I have an appointment now in Zurich, in Geneva. So I have to drive about 3 hours. So I will be at 7 o'clock.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Really nice to chat with you.
No, I hope we had enough time. I hope you.
I've still got another
45 minutes. Huh?
I've still got another 50 questions, but we can do that another time.
We'll do it next time. We'll catch up next time if we have a show or something. Sometime in Geneva. I think Basel's finished, but whenever we're there again, we'll be there over there next year anyway. So we'll try and catch up then. So we'll get the wheel.
We appreciate the time, Jean-Claude.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I had a lot of. I did appreciate also our talk together.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
It made me feel good. Thank you very much.
Good luck.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.